There's a lot of media speculation about the downturn in what economists call the Australian property market, with doomsday predictions for house prices. But when you look at the actual data, that's far from the reality. Our research shows that there continues to be growth markets right across the country, as well as some which have undoubtedly been in decline since last year. For the spring edition of the Price Predictor Index report, we analysed thousands of housing markets throughout Australia to determine the patterns with sales activity and what that means buyer demand. We do this because sales volumes are a forward indicator of what will happen with prices. Rising transaction levels are usually a precursor to property price growth. And equally, if sales activity is falling, price growth will slow or stop, or in some cases prices may fall. And our new analysis of the latest sales volumes data shows that while some locations are in decline, there are plenty that are still pumping strongly. The media has linked the decline in some markets to recent interest rate rises, but our analysis shows that demand in the majority of those locations started to drop well before the Reserve Bank announced its first rise in the official interest rate in May. Our analysis shows that transactions have declined in Sydney and lifestyle markets such as the Sunshine Coast, Byron Bay, the Central Coast, and the Mornington Peninsula in Victoria since the middle of 2021. Transaction numbers have been fading quarter by quarter since then, with a quite dramatic decline in sales activity in Sydney and Brisbane in particular in the March quarter of this year. And this drop-off in market activity has more recently started to show up in the median house price data. As is always the case, there's a time lag before a change in market activity translates into a change in price behaviour. And this means that judging the performance of a market by median house price changes alone will not paint an accurate picture of what's happening. Now, turning to our analysis of market patterns across the nation, our research confirms there are still many growth markets in Australia, particularly the smaller capital cities. Perth suburbs, for example, continue to experience strong buyer demand and high transaction levels, with prices still rising, particularly in the more affordable areas. Western Australian regional centres like Mandurah and Bunbury are also continuing to chalk up sales at a high rate, the same rates as before. The Adelaide market, which I've considered for a long time to be one of the best prospects in Australia, is the strongest we've recorded in the 7 years of doing these quarterly reports. Yes, it's still as strong as ever, and regional South Australian towns like Whyalla and Murray Bridge also have rising transaction numbers. Darwin has achieved its fourth consecutive quarter of buoyant sales activity, with prices still rising, and it continues to offer investors the highest yields of any capital city. Now, while the shine may have come off the Sunshine Coast market in recent quarters, other regional Queensland markets are still pumping strongly, including Toowoomba, Townsville and Rockhampton. Within Melbourne, affordable outer ring suburbs are still recording high levels of sales, led by the Hume, Wyndham, Casey and Melton local government areas. I've also identified a number of markets which are neither booming nor crashing. They're just chugging along with a high number of consistency markets, including Melbourne's middle suburbs, including Canberra, also Hobart and regional Tasmania. So there's plenty of diversity in markets across the nation. There's a lot, and that's a lot different to the general media theme of universal decline. People are often asking me, is this a good time to buy real estate? And my response is, it's the wrong question. The right question is, where is it a good time to buy real estate?